Okay, so this one, looking at 7, they give me a picture. They say it's a Riemann sum. What I notice here, there's a curve. I do see that. I'm going to say that's the function. The other thing I notice is that they're trying to approximate this thing using rectangles. And this is what the Riemann sum is. So looking at, the first thing I've got to do is letter A. I got to identify what these x values are. And they're really just the endpoints of the rectangles. And I'll just outline them for you. And then we'll write them down. And certainly we're going to go in order. What's the first one going to be? It looks like 0 to me. All right, that's this one right over here. What's the next one going to be? It looks like 1. What's the next one going to be? 2.5. What's the next one going to be? 3.2. What's the next one going to be? 5. All right, so let's take a look at the answer case, make sure we got that. I see the 0, I see the 1, see the 2.5, 3.2, and 5. That's fine. The next thing are going to be the point C. And there's still going to be x values, by the way. So I'm going to look at it, and it's really the x values that correspond to where the heights of these rectangles are formed. So I mean, if you trace down over here, the x value is what we're talking about, and trace down over here, and we're going to trace down over here. What's nice about the picture is a good picture, and I want to just talk about where I got the picture from. I did get it from a textbook or from WebAssign. I just don't remember where. It's either from Stewart's book or Rogowski's book. Both books are excellent books, by the way, right? And one book pretty much looks like the other book, by the way. I'm not saying they've copied, but for the most part, it's a standard thing they asked for. All right, let's write the C's down, looking at the picture. And the C's are going to be a set of numbers. And what's that set going to be? It looks like 0.5. The next one looks like 2. The next one looks like 3. Again, I'm trusting the picture. And the next one, 4.5. And yes, they're leading the witness with these numbers. All right, let's look at the answer keys, see if we got that. This is the set C, 0.5, 2, 3, and 4.5. Next up is compute the Riemann sum. How do you do that? Let me get the eraser out, and we'll talk about that right now. Let me get this eraser out too. What we're going to do is, to compute the Riemann sum, is we're basically computing each rectangle separately. How many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's write it down. And it's pretty easy to do, by the way. So let me write this over here. The area, and I'll look at the first base, by the way. It's right over here. What's the first base worth? Well, it's 1 minus 0, which is 1. What's the height of it? The height of it is, the height of that rectangle, and it looks like 34.25. Let's do the next one, and I want to do the base. And the base there is 2.5 to 1, which is 1.5. What's the height of that? Well, I'm looking over, it looks about 20. Let's keep moving, plus, let's do the next base. And that's 3.2, that's the upper, minus 2.5, so that's going to be 0.7. What's the height of that? Well, I'm kind of tracing over it. It looks about 8 to me. All right? Let's do the next base. That's going to be 5 minus 3.2, which is 1.8. And yes, we have to do the arithmetic. Oops. So the base looks about 1.8. And what's the height of that? Well, I'm kind of tracing over it. I'm going to say it looks about 15. Now, granted, you might say stuff that arithmetic is going to take me a while to do. If you're in an exam, I would write that down. If you're really bad at arithmetic, I wouldn't bother with arithmetic. But I still want to do the arithmetic, by the way. And I'm going to say the first one, 1 times 34.25 is 34. Whoops, I made a mistake there. Is 34.25. I mean, relatively simple. Now I want to do the 1.5 times 20. Well, that's going to be 20 plus 10, which is 30. Relatively simple. The next one is 0.7 times 8. Well, think about it. 7 times 8, 56. All right, so it's 5.6 now. I'm going to write this over here. I'm going to write it as 5.60, by the way. And then I'm going to do the 1.8 times 15. All right, now certainly the way I do it might be different the way you do it, but I'm going to do 1 times 15, which is 15. And then I'm actually going to say 8 times 15. I know it's not 8, by the way, it's 0.8. But 8 times 50 would be 8 times 15 would be 80 and 40, which is 120. So that's 1.2. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. 8 times 15, is 80 and 20. That's 120. So that's going to be a 12. All right, what does that give you? 27. All right, let's take a look at that and add it together. All right, and certainly it takes time and effort, and I realize that. Well, I get 0.85 from the first things I'm looking at over here, and I get 39. And these two numbers together give me 57. Well, it gives you 85. That's not so bad. And then 7 and 9 is 16. And you get 96, 96.85. And we're good to go to the next question. Thank you.